Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Emergency Faith Podcast. I am your host, King, and in today's podcast, we're going to be reviewing a debate that happened a few weeks ago between Dr. Michael Brown and a guy named Nadir Ahmed. And in this debate or discussion, uh, the topic was about Muhammad in the Bible. And so we will hear from Nadir, and we will question or criticize some of the points that were raised in this discussion. And we're not going to watch the entire video. It's about 1 hour long. It's about 1 hour long. So we're not going to have time to watch the entire video. However, I will leave the link to the original video in the description in case any of you guys want to go back and watch this video. Um, which I recommend after you watch my video that you do go back and you see those points. Um, Give me 1 second here. Okay, so um, we will address some of Nadir's points, and I hope you guys have your paper and pencil that you'll take some good notes because we are going to expose this guy Nadir for the liar that he is, and with Nadir's help, we will prove Islam to be false, inshallah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started.
All right, friends, we have a very special video that we are recording now together with Nadir Ahmed, whom I'll introduce in a moment. But a few weeks back, I sat with David Wood, well known for his Islamic apologetics, and we recorded a video together answering the question: Is Muhammad prophesied in the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, the Greek New Testament, so Old New Testaments? And our answers, of course, as followers of Jesus, was categorically no. On March 26th, uh, my ministry received this email from the Mercy for Mankind team. Hi, Dr. Brown. We hope this message reaches you in the best of health concerning the pandemic. Our international Islamic outreach organization, mercyformankind.com, has taken an interest in your recent discussion with David Wood regarding if Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible. We found some of your responses to be quite compelling and has caused some concern regarding if what we are presenting as truth to the people is accurate. It is not our intent to misrepresent the Bible to promote Islam. Therefore, we would like very much to have a sit-down discussion with you in which we can ask certain questions pertaining to Deuteronomy 18:18 and get answers with one of our scholars. We do not have any Bible experts on our staff, so we think leveraging your expertise would be a great benefit for everyone to ensure that only the most accurate information is being given to the public. Please let us know your level of interest. So, of course, we immediately responded and said, wonderful, let's do it. And then we suggested a formal debate on the subject, and instead we were asked, let's just have a dialogue, a discussion with one of their experts, who's Nadir Ahmad, and let's just focus on Deuteronomy 18 specifically, and go back and forth on that. So that's what we're here to do.
Okay, guys. So basically, Dr. Michael Brown is explaining that one of the Islamic organizations reached out to him in order to have a discussion uh, about Deuteronomy 18 and the topic of Muhammad in the Bible, but specifically Deuteronomy 18. And they would have one of their scholars or Muslim apologists ask a few questions regarding what is written in Deuteronomy 18. This was not supposed to be a debate, but of course, Nadir Ahmed, being the type of guy that he is, he sort of turned it into something of a debate, a semi-debate, when that was not the agreed format for this discussion. So anyway, we're not going to focus on that. Let's go ahead and hear the points that Nadir has to make.
And specifically to ask the question, is Muhammad prophesied in Deuteronomy 18 as the prophet like Moses? So this first time Nadir and I have gotten to meet each other, and Nadir will start just with 3 minutes explaining our respective viewpoints, and then from there, you will ask me questions, and if I have questions back for you, we'll go in that order. But
First of all, before we go any further, I just want to say I want to give a shout out to Acts 17 Apologetics and brother David Wood and Michael Brown for allowing us to use this video. I'm sure that they will have no issue whatsoever with us using this video for the context that we are using it. And we want to thank them for posting this and allowing us to criticize uh, brother Nadir Ahmed's arguments. This was very informative, and I learned much from it. I hope that you guys will learn as well as we point things out one by one. Please, guys, please, it is very, very important that you take notes because we will refer back to things that were said earlier in the debate, and I want you guys to know, what exactly was said. So please take notes.
You can kick things off. Just explain to folks what you believe about Deuteronomy 18:18.
Sure, thank you, and nice meeting you, Michael Brown. So yeah, I guess a lot of comments were made in your discussion with David Wood about the scripture was being misused, and so I think this is a great opportunity where we can clear the air. So what we believe about Deuteronomy 18:18 is that this is clearly referring to Muhammad. He is a prophet like Moses, and we'll show you many ways.
Mm,
Jesus is also sort of like Moses as well,
mm.
but it's different. See, Jesus is like Moses in a very general way. For example, I could claim
Jesus is like Moses in a very general way. Really, Nadir. Jesus is like Moses in a very general way. So let us hear how Jesus is like Moses in a general way.
like Moses. For example, Moses didn't eat pork. I don't eat pork. Moses was circumcised. I'm circumcised. Um, so there's many examples we can give like this. Moses was, and Jesus are both Israelites. There's millions of Jewish people who are Israelites. In a general way, you are going to see Jesus. This is the way people try to associate Jesus with Moses.
No, it's not. No, it's not how they. This is not how they associate Moses with Jesus. Uh, this guy is saying Moses is only like Jesus in a general sense. I mean, come on, brother. We don't eat pork. They don't eat pork. We are circumcised. Moses circumcised. I mean, come on, come on. This is very general. Anybody can be like this, right? No, but the Christians don't use this as the commonality between Moses and Jesus. What the Christians say is Moses had a face-to-face relationship with God. Jesus had a face-to-face relationship with God. This is something very, very distinct and personal to Moses and Jesus and a few others, um, such as Adam and others, but very few share these commonalities like Moses and Jesus. This is not something in a general sense, like everybody has this. Well, Moses is a guy, Jesus is a guy. Well, Moses had hair, Jesus had. This is not what Christians are saying. So you are already off to a bad start and misrepresenting the Christian position. Um, Not only Moses and Jesus had face-to-face relationship with God, but Moses and Jesus performed miracles. This is also very distinct to Moses and Jesus and a few others. This is not something that is general in any sense of the word general. These are the commonalities between Moses and Jesus. And these are the ones that Christians are saying. So already, Mr. Nadir Ahmed has misrepresented the Christian position in stating that Jesus and Moses are only alike in a general sense, which is not uh, the position of Christians. We believe that they are alike in general sense because they are both Israelites, and they are alike in a very distinct sense because they share distinct qualities. Thank you.
However, Muhammad is intrinsically like Moses,
Hmm.
and we'll see.
Intrinsically, Muhammad is intrinsically like Moses, guys. Muhammad, his claim, Nadir's claim, Muhammad is intrinsically like Moses, not like Jesus, who's just generally, uh, in a general way, like Moses. Muhammad is intrinsically like Moses, guys. How? Let's hear how. How is he intrinsically like Moses, Mr. Nadir? Brother Nadir, tell us.
Not just in a general way, but in a very special, unique way, unlike anybody else in world history.
Okay, guys. Did you guys hear it? Muhammad is like Moses in a way unlike anyone else in world history. This is Nadir's position. I hope you guys are taking notes. Nadir's position is that Jesus is like Moses in a general sense, but Muhammad is like Moses in an intrinsic way, unlike any other person in the history, in world history. This is Nadir's position. Please, guys, please, 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 please take your notes. Okay? Now we need to hear how. How is Muhammad intrinsically like Moses and no one else in history compares? Please tell us.
And we'll show many examples of that. Let me just go ahead and in fact, well, one thing I do want to, before we go, we open up the topic, what I was going to do, I was going to first show, well, here's how Muhammad is like Moses, and we can talk about that. Then we can talk about how Jesus is like Moses, if he is like that. And then we can open up for a general objection, and I'll raise many questions and stuff like that. So, well, one thing I do want to raise is what Deuteronomy 18:18 really says here and what it doesn't say. So I'm going to share my desktop real quick. So the verse in the King James Bible, it says, I will raise them up a prophet from amongst their brethren, like unto thee.
Mm,
And so, referring to Moses.
mm,
However, when we read inside the New International Version of the Bible, look where my highlight is. It says, I will raise them a prophet like you from their fellow Israelites.
mm.
Do you see that? I want to confirm and get Michael Brown's expert viewpoint on this, and so we can all agree what the Bible says and what the Bible doesn't say. That from their fellow Israelites is an interpolation, it's a fabrication inserted into the text which doesn't belong there. What the new IV did here was wrong. You don't insert your own arguments into the text to make people think that this could only refer to an Israelite prophet, because obviously the Israelites, this is where Jesus comes from, Ishmaelites, that's where
Okay, so Brother Nadir has a problem with interpolation or transliteration. Basically, someone putting in, uh, when something is known, okay, when the subject matter is known based on the context, and someone puts in the known, replaces the word, say, places the word brothers, in this case, brethren, with the word Israelite. Nadir has a problem with this. I mean, come on, you cannot, change whatever you want and say whatever you want, right? Nadir has a big problem with this in the Bible. These people, he says this is wrong. This is wrong. This what these people of the NIV are translating. Um, okay, Brother Nadir. As long as you say this is wrong, I hope that you'll also condemn those who translate the Quran and say that Allah has protected His word, and they insert the Quran in parentheses to to tell the Muslim readers that only the Quran is protected. However, we both know that in the Arabic it does not say the Quran, it says Allah protects His word. So your Muslim translators are doing the exact same thing that you are condemning right now from the NIV. So, Mr. Nadir, as long as you have a problem with it in the Bible, I hope that you will also stand against those Muslim translators who are translating to the English and inserting things in parentheses that is not there in the Arabic text. I hope you will condemn them as well, as long as you say this is wrong. Thank you very much.
it comes from. So I think that's my 3 minutes. So I will go ahead and my question I just want to ask Michael Brown again is, I would like for you to confirm this is not part of the text, the Hebrew text of the Bible. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so we'll come back to your question after my 3 minute presentation. That can be your first question. But here's where we start Deuteronomy.
And they will use this tactic to say, see, the Bible is corrupt. The original language does not say Israelites, it says brethren, and your translation says Israelites. They will use this tactic. The Muslims will attempt to use this tactic to say that the Bible is corrupt. However, the same thing is done in Islam. The same thing is done in Islam when you say the word, Allah will protect His word, and then you say in parentheses the Quran, because in the Arabic it does not say the Quran, it says His word. Is the Injil the word of Allah according to Islam? Yes, it is, brother. Is the Torah the word of Allah according to Islam? Yes. So why you put in parentheses the Quran when Allah says He will protect His word? Hmm? This is obviously wrong according to Mr. Nadir.
15. And it is absolutely impossible, categorically 100% impossible, for Muhammad to be the prophet spoken of here. Every possible reading of the text in Hebrew forbids it for being Muhammad. Now, we'll show later why we can make an excellent case for it being Jesus. But this prophet that is spoken of, as the children of Israel come into the land, they need a prophet. This is a line of prophets ultimately culminate in Jesus. But it says in verse 15, Navi mikir becha ve'achicha kamoni yakim lecha Adonai lahecha elav tishma'un. So he is explicitly spoken of as from your brothers. That's the first thing. Look at every reference to that phrase from your brothers in Deuteronomy. Okay, it occurs several times. It is only speaking about fellow Israelites to separate them from everyone else. Okay, Muhammad is not an Israelite. This one had to be an Israelite, separated from the other nations. And so me'achecha, and before that, mikir becha, mikir becha. That phrase occurs about 11 times in Deuteronomy. It is a very explicit way of speaking about the people of Israel. So the phraseology, 100%, every single time it's used in Deuteronomy, and even in Torah context, always, without exception, refers to a fellow Israelite. So it cannot be Muhammad. That's number one. Number two, the phraseology that you have in Deuteronomy 18:15 and then in 18:18 speaks of God raising up a prophet. Uses the Hebrew root lakum, come. He will raise him up. That phrase is used exactly again in Deuteronomy, the 34th chapter, saying that no prophet like Moses has been raised up by God. And then how is he described? What does it mean to be like Moses? It says specifically, to whom the Lord spoke face to face and with signs, wonders, and miracles. So it cannot possibly be Muhammad because he was not an Israelite. It cannot possibly be Muhammad because he did not work signs and wonders and miracles as Moses did. Nor did he have the ongoing communion with God that Moses did. Not only so, but this prophet has to prophesy in the name of Yahweh, not in the general name of the God, but in the name of Yahweh, which Muhammad did not do. As far as Jesus, Yeshua, the whole Hebrew Bible prophesies of him, of his birth, of his death, of his resurrection, of when he had to come before the second temple was destroyed. This is one of many prophecies regarding him. So 100% impossible under any fair reading of the text that it could refer to Muhammad. If you want to make a case for Islam, make it outside of this.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we actually haven't got to.
So, guys, um, if you guys paid attention to what Brother Michael Brown just presented us, he gave about 4 or 5 criteria for this prophet that is spoken of in Deuteronomy 18. It said that he would be from among your brethren, right? That God would raise him up from among your brethren. So he would be an Israelite. That's the first criteria. Second criteria, that he would have an ongoing relationship face to face with God. Okay? He has to have an ongoing relationship face to face with God. Okay? The third criteria, signs and miracles. Signs and miracles. Okay? The fourth criteria, to prophesy in the name of Yahweh. They must prophesy in the same name of the God of Moses, which is Yahweh. Okay? So, in all of these things, Muhammad fails in the criteria, and this is Dr. Michael's argument uh, that Muhammad could not possibly be the prophet spoken of in Deuteronomy 18. Okay, we will not watch too much of Dr. Brown's response because I don't want the video to be too long. It will already be pretty uh, in depth already. So we will kind of skip around, but I wanted you guys just to get a general sense for Dr. Brown's argument and his position. And now we will deal more so with what Nadir Ahmed uh, has to say. And again, guys, if you want to watch the entire video in its entirety, you will find the link to the original video in the description below. Okay.
How is exactly Muhammad like Moses? But we'll get there. And so, and what you're going to actually find when we talk about is Jesus like Muhammad? I'm sorry, Jesus like Moses. You're going to find it's 100% impossible that this is referring to Jesus. But just so that we make it clear, you try to get into the Arabic word akh, which is also, I'm sorry, the Hebrew word akh, which is also the Arabic word for brother, ironically. And one thing I just want to make it clear, Michael Brown, there is no, can you point to me an explicit verse in the Bible, not interpretation or what you think the word means, where it says, ugh, can only be Israelite? Is there anything like that, Michael?
First of all, guys, this guy is a very deceitful guy. Really. I mean, really. He is asking for specific phrasing for the Bible to say that brother or brethren means Israelites. However, guys, this is the same thing that he used. This is the same tactic that he used in previous debates, calling it the specific phrasing fallacy, okay, or specific wording fallacy. And he accused his opponents of using this fallacy when it is required of him. He accuses his opponents of using this fallacy when it is required of him. However, he, as a munafik, uh, a hypocrite, he is using this same tactic himself, requiring others of having specific wording or specific phrasing when he himself has accused his opponents in debates in the past of using this as a fallacy. Now, how can it be a fallacy if you are now requiring this from your opponents, Nadir Ahmed? You are a hypocrite. You guys can go back to his previous debate with the apostate prophet, and uh, there was also a debate that he had with Abdullah Samir, and both were on the topics of scientific errors or scientific mistakes in the Quran. In the debate with Abdullah Samir, he accuses him of using this fallacy of requiring specific wording or phrasing instead of allowing the context to speak for itself. In the debate with apostate prophet, he wants specific wording. This guy is a hypocrite, and again, he's doing it again here. Can you show me specific wording instead of using context? Now, obviously, the word brother does not just mean Israelites. The word itself, brethren, can refer to many things, and we know this. We are not, you know, we are not unintelligent here. We know the word brethren can mean many things, but if you guys paid attention to Dr. Michael Brown's position, what he stated was that in the context of Deuteronomy 18, that it refers to Israelites. When you see the word brethren in Deuteronomy, specifically chapter 18, but in the book of Deuteronomy, Michael Brown is saying that it refers to the Israelites. So why you are requiring that you see a verse that says that brethren only means Israelites? This was not the argument. You are misrepresenting Dr. Brown's position now. You started the video misrepresenting the Christian position on how Jesus is like Moses, and now you are misrepresenting the position on what a brethren means.
Of course. I
Okay,
just
which
I
one?
just referenced it.
Okay.
When you have the phrase me'achicha, that exact same phrase, or me'achecha, from your brother, from your brothers. For example, in Deuteronomy 15:7, This is if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren. This is speaking about fellow Israelite. You had different laws for loaning to fellow Israelites as opposed to others. This is not just ach, which could have a
Okay.
broader meaning,
Well, let me
or
draw my
Deuteronomy
time.
24:14, the exact
Well,
same thing, me'achecha, the exact same Hebrew words. So 100%, yes, this is used, and then together with mikirbecha, those two, you couldn't have made it any more clear in the Hebrew based on usage within Deuteronomy that it has to be an Israelite.
Did you hear his point, guys? He's saying based on Deuteronomy that this is the context of the word. Did you hear, guys? Nadir Ahmed tries to misrepresent and misrepresent Dr. Brown's position, and this is clearly some deceit.
so it's 100% clear that there is no verse in the Bible which says that the brethren, that word ah, can only refer to Israelites. I think we
Here he goes again, back to in the Bible, the word brethren can only mean Israelites. Is that what the guy said? The guy said that in the context of Deuteronomy that it refers to Israelites.
you've
No,
actually
no, no,
given
no,
us
sir.
all.
Nadir, I didn't say
Just
that.
3 minutes.
I didn't say that.
Oh,
Well, let's go
Mike, let me.
back and forth. Here, we can go back and
Mike,
forth freely because you're
Mm.
asking
yeah,
the questions.
Well, I
You're
thought we had
miss.
3
You're
minutes
miss.
back and forth. Okay.
Okay,
Mike,
let,
we have 3 minutes.
let me
Yeah,
just say
back.
this. I
Yeah.
suggested a formal debate. I was
Okay, we
told
can do that.
no, under no circumstances. Instead, you're going to ask questions. All right.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
you ask me a question. If you don't want me to answer till you're done, that's totally
Yeah.
fine. I have
I
no
thought we were.
problem with it.
Well, can we do 3 minutes back and forth? That way we don't like interrupt each other.
Okay. So when you're asking me a
Yeah.
question, you don't want me to answer until you're done
Oh yeah, and then for
because
your
you
three
asked
minutes,
me and
write
I
down
answered.
notes. Yeah.
Right. So whatever you like,
Okay.
however we can best have this dialogue, because I want to help your people get liberated
Sure.
from this misuse of the Bible, which is kind of a disgrace to Islam. It's one of the most disqualifying things that Islam has ever raised. Just to be candid. But however we can best facilitate this in keeping with this request, it is not our intent to misrepresent the Bible to promote Islam. So I want to help you not
Right.
misrepresent the Bible.
Yeah. So from our point of view, let me just finish my my point here because I just wanted a quick answer out of you before, and then definitely write down the points, and in your 3 minutes you can go ahead and respond to me. So that's our point, which our point of view is. If you look in the Bible, there's nothing we see which explicitly say, ah, the word brethren there is only referring to Israelite. It's an
Back to the
interpretation,
Bible.
basically, what Michael is
Notice he's
giving
saying
you.
in the
But
Bible,
he
not in
said that this word
Deuteronomy.
can never refer to Ishmaelites, if I understood him correctly. But
That's
I
not
don't
what
think
he
that's
said.
true because we see inside um, Genesis chapter 16, verse 11 over there, it said that he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Now referring to Ishmael. Now that word strong number there is 251. The exact same word used in Genesis chapter 16, verse 11 is the exact same word used in Deuteronomy 18:18. So he told Ishmael, this guy is gonna shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. He's talking about Ishmael and his brethren, fellow Ishmaelites. So let's
Did you guys hear that? Please take notes. Please take notes. Nadir Ahmed has just used an example of a verse in the book of Genesis in which the verse states he would be among his brethren. And Nadir translates this as Ishmael and the Ishmaelites. Did you guys hear it? Nadir translated himself as this means, in its context, Ishmael, and his brethren is who? The Ishmaelites. So Nadir has just admitted to us what it means when it says brethren. It means whoever is speaking and the kinsman or the countryman of the person who is speaking. In that case, it would have been Ishmael. So the kinsman of Ishmael would have been his his ancestors and descendants. His descendants would be the Ishmaelites. So Nadir is agreeing that brethren means your kinsman, but he is trying to make a point that this does not mean kinsman. It means Muhammad. That brethren refers to Muhammad, but he has just made the point that in the verse he admits that your brethren means your kinsman. So in the case going back to Deuteronomy 18, when God says, I will raise up a prophet from among you, from among your brethren, he is admitting that the brethren refers to the person who is like Moses, and Moses is an Israelite. So the brethren from among your brethren would be from among the Israelites. He has just admitted it. Did you guys see it? Did you guys see it? He admits that brethren is referring to kinsmen. Let's hear it one more time.
His brother. Now referring to Ishmael. Now that word strong number there is 251. The exact same word used in Genesis chapter 16 verse 11 is the exact same word used in Deuteronomy 18:18. So
Exact same word, guys. Exact same word. And he brought this point up to prove that it does not mean Israelites. And while you have proved that it does not mean Israelites, the word brethren does not mean Israelites all throughout the Bible, what you have proved as well is that when you see brethren, it means kinsmen. So the kinsmen of Ishmael would be the Ishmaelites, and the kinsmen of Moses would be the Israelites. Thank you for proving that this prophet cannot be Muhammad.
he told he told Ishmael, this guy is gonna shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. He's talking about Ishmael and his brethren, fellow Ishmaelites. So let us show for the record that there is no verse, and this is in the Bible, which explicitly states that Israelites or the word brethren can only refer to Israelites. This is their interpretation. Now, here's why I hold Michael Brown to that standard, because we hold ourselves to that standard. If I were to just come up here and give my interpretations, oh well, the phraseology, according to the phraseology, Muhammad is that prophet. You're never going to accept that from us, and neither will us or our Jewish friends are going to accept that from the Christians. Let's first see what the scriptures explicitly says. So, Michael, do you want to go ahead and answer
Yeah,
that?
certainly. So here's what's distressing, and if you're watching carefully, not only is Nadir misrepresenting the Bible, he already misrepresented me. The word ach by itself, brother, can have all kinds of meanings. I could say, oh, brother. What does that mean? I could call lots of people brother. But if you have a legal contract of some kind, and it speaks of brother, sister, sibling, has certain meaning. So I was asked a question. There is a specific phrase here in Deuteronomy 18:15, me achecha, from your brethren. Okay? 100% usage, explicit fellow Israelite, using that phrase. Deuteronomy 15:7, it explicitly refers to a fellow Israelite. Deuteronomy 24:14, it explicitly refers to a fellow Israelite. Not just the word brother in general, but the phrase from your brethren has a very explicit meaning in the book of Deuteronomy. So not deep.
Did you hear, guys? Dr. Michael Brown is again stating his position, which Nadir Ahmed has misrepresented. He is saying again, Dr. Brown is saying again, in the context of the book of Deuteronomy, the word brethren has a specific reference to the Israelites, not in the not just the word brethren itself. Don't be stupid, Nadir Ahmed. Don't be a donkey. Okay? We are not talking about one word. We are talking about the context of the passage. Uh, don't make a straw man argument just to score some points. Okay?
Has not only misrepresented scriptures, misrepresented me. We're not talking about all possible ways the word brother could be used, but this phrase, from your brethren. And remember, this is the children of Israel going into the land of Canaan. And God saying, don't do what the other nations do. I'm going to raise up a prophet from within your own nation. All right? Now, when we go to the other phrase, Mikir Becha or Mikir Becha, that we have 11 times that it comes up. 11 times. And you'll see, for example, Deuteronomy 13:6, Mikir Becha, meaning specifically from your midst as Israelites. 13:14, 17:7, and then again 18:15, 19:19, 21:9, 21:21, 22:21, 22:24, 24:7, all within Deuteronomy. So it's a sham already to say I'm misrepresenting when I am giving you explicit text based on the Hebrew. We don't need Strong's concordance numbers. Explicit text based on the Hebrew. The phrase me'achecha mikirbecha can only refer to from your fellow Israelites. Now, the NIV edit those words. It's so fine. You can attack a million translations of the Quran. You can attack a million translations of the Bible. Go back to the original. Go back to the Arabic, to the Hebrew. The Hebrew is 100% explicit. And not only so, all of the reason for it is it must be a fellow Israelite who prophesies in the name of Yahweh, not in the name of a generic God or another God. Muhammad did not prophesy in the name of Yahweh. And the main calling card of Muhammad in the Quran is not predictive prophecy, whereas this is the very thing being spoken of here. So one of the major reasons that the Jewish population rejected Muhammad was because they knew that God would not raise up a prophet from outside their own people. The text is explicit. I've given you verse after verse with specific Hebrew phraseology. It cannot possibly, under any circumstance, refer to Muhammad.
Oh, thank you, Michael. So you kept saying this can only explicitly refer to Israelites, and you said it over and over and over again. You did not present really any convincing evidence for that. And really, this is my point, which I want to raise here.
He did not present convincing evidence. He provided you 5 different verses that you completely ignored. 5 different verses, all coming from the book of Deuteronomy, that specifically refer to brethren as Israelites. Yet you say he did not provide any evidence.
This is their interpretation. Now, I did show in the Bible, inside Genesis chapter 16, verse 11, God referred to Ishmael. He said, you will be, in fact, let me read the verse again. If I share my desktop real quick here, this is what it said over here. And he shall dwell, referring to Ishmael, he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Now, Ishmael is the lineage which Muhammad comes from. So that word is the same exact word which is used in Deuteronomy 18:18. So we do see that God does call the Israelites the brethren of the Israelites.
That is not what it says. That is absolutely not what the verse said. Nadir is using takia here again to misrepresent the Bible. He's building strawmans all over the place, you know, because the verse does not say that the Ishmaelites are the brethren of the Israelites. The verse says that Ishmael and his brethren. Who is his brethren? His Ishmaelite people, not the Israelites. Don't twist things to your own meaning. Okay, it does not say the Israelites are brethren with the Ishmaelites. It says Ishmael and his brethren, as you yourself have already admitted. You yourself translated it as Ishmael and the Ishmaelites. Now you are trying to use takia. We will get you busted every time.
Ishmaelites, the brethren of the Israelites. So, I think we just got to, Michael, we just got to agree to disagree so we can move on. Because, again, this goes back to holding a standard. If I were to present if I were to come here and say, this explicitly refer to Ishmaelite, it explicitly refers to Ishmaelite, and write that in the NIV, this is only referring to the Ishmaelites. The Christians would object to that and say, this is your interpretation, you are putting in the text, and that is dishonest.
Yes, it is dishonest, and this is exactly what you do with the Quran. When it says that Allah will protect His word, you say this is explicitly talking about the Quran, not the books that came before. But does it say that in the Arabic, brother? Does it say Quran in the ayah? No, it does not. This is your own interpretation. So as long as you admit that this is wrong, then please stop mistranslating in your Quran and condemn those who do it. You say that we will not accept it, but yet you do it in your Quran.
And I'm a little bit saddened to see that you did not condemn that, because you know this is an issue of contention. You don't write, this was a deliberate attempt by the people of the NIV to mislead the Christian masses so that they don't see the evidence for Prophet Muhammad, which we haven't got to yet. And then you said that the Jews rejected Muhammad because of this. If you read the Sirah, you'll see many Jews accepted Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam because of the prophecies which they see inside the Old Testament. But that's a different subject. That's a different.
Yes, brother. Many Jews, many Jews converted to Islam because of the miracles that they saw in the Old Testament. So many miracles, in fact, that the Quran says that Muhammad had no miracles. So many Jews converted, brother, because of the miracles. Or was it because of the sword? Hmm? Was it because of the sword? Is this a miracle? I will put a sword to your neck and cause you to pay jizya or lose your life. Huh? This is miracle, brother. This is one of the many miracles of the Quran. So many. Yes. We know. We know. Takia boy.
Different topic. We'll go there when we get. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. You said that Muhammad or prophesied or worshipped some type of different God. Didn't prophesize in Yahweh. We believe in Yahweh. I'll pray to Yahweh right now in front of everybody. Oh Yahweh, please help me. I need some help. So there you go. Now that's not a problem. Why? Because Muslims, Jews, and Christians, we all believe in the same God. The Torah was
What? What did he just say, guys? Did he just say that Muslim, Jews, and Christians all believe in the same God? What? What did you get this from? Nadir. Nadir. Habibi. Habibi. Where did you get this from? Is this coming from your own Quran that you made up in your backyard, or where are you getting this information that we worship the same God? Because according to the Quran, we do not worship the same God. In fact, the Quran says, "For you worship what you worship, I will not worship what you worship." Isn't that right, Nadir? Why are you using this takia? See, he's saying this because this is Michael Brown, and he knows Michael Brown does not know the Quran like we know the Quran. And so he can say this and use lies. He can say this and use lies and deceit. And Brother Michael will not be able to bust him on the spot. But we are going to bust him today. We want to thank again David Wood and Dr. Michael Brown for posting this video, and we will get him busted severely. Let us go to the Quran as long as you say that we worship the same God. Huh? Let us go to the Quran, please. And we will go to the chapter of disbelievers. Huh? What does the Quran say, brother? In Surah 109, ayah 1 through 6, it reads, "Say, O disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship, nor are you worshippers of what I worship, nor will I be a worshipper of what you worship, nor will you be worshippers of what I worship. For you is your religion, and for me is my religion." Isn't that what the Quran says, Nadir? Habibi, Habibi. Huh? So how we worship the same God? Hmm? How we worship the same God? It says clearly, I do not worship what you worship. So either Nadir is calling his God and his prophet a liar, or he's using some takia, okay, to make Islam seem like a friendly, nice religion that we all worship one God and the same God, when clearly the Quran says that we do not worship the same God. Huh? Because you do not worship what I worship, and I will not worship what you worship, and you will worship what you worship, and I will worship what I worship, because you worship what you worship, and we will not worship what you worship. Thank you very much. Isn't that right? This is clearly what the Quran says. See, we are not living in a time when people cannot do research. You cannot take things as people say it. When anytime, guys, listen. Anytime a Muslim says to you that we worship the same God, please point this, please point this surah out to him or her, because they are disagreeing with Allah. Huh? They are disagreeing with Allah. And I know there are some Muslims that are watching right now, because I get Muslims all the time. They message me, they ask me questions. And so I know how they are, you know? They will say, oh, this says disbelievers. This says disbelievers. And who he was talking about here is the people of Quraysh. This is not about the Christians and the Jews. The Christians and the Jews are not disbelievers. Well, brother, thank you, brother Habibi Muhammad, Muslim. Thank you very much for that explanation. However, in Tafsir Ibn Kathir, it clearly says that this refers to all disbelievers, not just the people of Quraysh. Huh? All disbelievers. It says, say, O disbelievers. It does not say, O people of Quraysh, right? This is not just for the Qurayshi. Okay. So, are the Christians and the Jews disbelievers according to the Quran? Hmm. Well, let's see, brother. Because, we don't say anything without providing proof. Hmm? We will get you busted live on air for using your takia and your lies, and you thought you would get away with it, but you were wrong. Surah 5, and we'll go to Ayah 17, and it says, they have certainly disbelieved. Eh? They have certainly disbelieved who say that Allah is Christ, the Son of Mary. So who is the one who says that God, Jesus is God? Huh? Isn't that the Christians? Isn't it the Christians who say that Jesus is God, the Son of Mary? But the Quran says that they have certainly disbelieved. They are disbelievers. All those who say Allah is Christ. Hmm? And in the previous verse, we saw, say, O disbelievers, I do not worship what you worship. You will not worship what I worship, for I worship what you worship. I don't worship what you worship. Right? By the way, what kind of verse is that? He is just repeating the same thing over and over. This is the intelligence of of the God of Muhammad. Anyways, the Christians are clearly, according to the Quran, disbelievers. So you do not worship the same God as the Christians and the Jews. This is a lie. Back to the video.
Put in front of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I have that hadith for you if you'd like to see it, in which and Muhammad said, "I believe in thee and the God of thee." What?
Mm.
The Torah, the book of Deuteronomy. So now, how can people say we worship a different God?
Mm. Did Nadir just say that Muhammad put his hand on the Torah and said, I believe in thee and in the God who sent thee? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nadir, for confirming this hadith for us. By the way, this is in the hadith, not in the Quran. The Quran clearly says that you do not worship the same God. But Nadir is appealing to a hadith. In any case, when there is a difference between the hadith and the Quran, Muslims, which one are you supposed to deny and which one are you supposed to accept? Hmm? Do you accept the Quran or do you accept the hadith? If you are an honest Muslim, you will say, we accept the Quran, brother. Of course. So don't appeal to this hadith, okay? But I'm glad that you did, actually. I'm glad that you did, okay? Breaking news, Nadir Ahmed agrees and verifies the authenticity, okay, of this hadith, okay? Thank you very much, Nadir, for proving to us that the Bible has never been corrupted. You're trying to make the point that we worship the same God, but this is denied because the Quran says we do not, okay? And now you are putting yourself in more poo poo. You are putting yourself in poo poo because you are now saying Muhammad swore on the Torah, I believe in thee, and the one who sent thee. So obviously, the Torah was not corrupted in the time of Muhammad. Huh? So no longer can the Muslims say that the Torah, the Bible, is corrupt because Muhammad believed in thee. How can you? Who are you? Who are you as a Muslim to say, I do not believe in the Bible or I cannot trust the Bible? when your own prophet said, I trust in thee? Who are you? Do you know more than your prophet? I thought Allah and His Messenger know best. Huh? Let us go to that hadith, right? Actually, we can find it in Tafsir Ibn Kathir, and we have it ready. Hmm? We can find it in Tafsir Ibn Kathir. We are going to hold you accountable for everything that you say, sir. Huh? And here we go. Okay, guys. You are taking notes? Okay? This is the reference for what Mr. Nadir is referring to. You can find it in Tafsir Ibn Kathir, quoting Surah 5, verse 41. This is page 115. Okay? And it says clearly, a man from us committed adultery with a woman. So decide on their matter. They arranged a pillow for the messenger of Allah, and he sat on it and said, bring the Torah to me. You see these parentheses? This is supposed to represent the quotations, the the words out of the mouth of Muhammad. So this is what Muhammad is saying. Bring the Torah to me. He was brought the Torah, and he removed the pillow from underneath himself, from under him, and placed the Torah on it, saying, I trust you and he who revealed it to you. Huh? Do you see it? He put his hand on the Torah. He put the Torah on the pillow, and he put his hand on the Torah and says, I trust you and he who revealed it to you. Okay? So Muhammad is clearly saying that I trust the Torah. So then how can you say, Muslims, that the Torah cannot be trusted, the Bible cannot be trusted, that it is corrupt, that it has been changed, if your own prophet says, I trust you and the one who revealed you? Hmm? And this is in Tafsir Ibn Kathir. You can find this in many other hadiths. This is not the only one. Okay? There's many hadiths about this. And your own scholar, supposed scholar, Nadir Ahmed, agrees on the authenticity of the hadith in this regard. So he agrees 600 years after the time of Jesus, the Torah was brought to Muhammad, and Muhammad placed his hand and said, I trust you, meaning there is no corruption. Will you trust someone that is corrupt or something that is corrupted? Of course not. Your prophet says, I trust you, referring to the Torah. So there is no more argument now that the Quran says the Bible has been changed or that Islam says the Bible has been changed. You clearly do not know your religion.